Rock and roll daddy. Hey, Bob Squad, how the hell are you? Since I last saw you, I went to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and back. I'll tell you about that at the end. We're talking about Raw. We are back in the States. We're in Baltimore. We'll call a whore. We'll tell a Harlan and Charlotte. We got Jolly and Raleigh do cocaine in Spokane. Tell your grandpa in Tampa I tore my hammy in Miami. We'll do Dallas with Malice. Leave Sioux Falls with Blue Balls. But Baltimore, Maryland is where we are doing Monday Night Raw today. I've got my red notebook, as good old Mark Boba Hicks pointed out, because it's raw, which I did by accident, but I'll take credit for it anyway. I'm drinking some of my double water, 2H4O. Stay hydrated. That's what we do in the Bob Squad. All right. And then now, forever together, let's do this Mamma Jamma Daddy. The Bloodline on June 15th, 2026, Monday Night Raw gets out of a black car, so there's something we've never seen before. And they meet Jacob Fatu, who they've met already. They've met him several times, but they see him in person for the first time on this occasion for our intents and purposes. Be that as it may, what happens now? Oh yeah, the whole hold your hand in a supine position thing, and the other person touches it or acknowledges it. They stole that from the 2011 Rise of the Planet of the Apes, starring James Franco and John Lithgow with Alzheimer's, and one of those hot Indian British chicks, Frida something or other. But that notwithstanding, yeah, they stole that. That's the whole thing. So Caesar does that, and James Franco has to ask for the permission to leave from Caesar, and then they do that throughout the series from Matt, what's his name, the same guy who directed The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson. But that's for another day. Anyway, they go to the ring after meeting in a black vehicle, and a gentleman who, other than them, a small little white guy, gives them the belt. So Roman doesn't even travel around with the championship title, if you will. It is 5:10 or 10 after 8 Pacific Standard Time. It's 10 after 5 before any real words are spoken into a microphone, and Roman Reigns says Baltimore, and that's how I learned where we were, to acknowledge him. And there's a whole lot of acknowledging and fighting about acknowledging going on, and I acknowledge that this was getting way too long. Pardon me. What happened? Oh yeah, Jay is very mad at Fatu because Jay wants Fatu to acknowledge him, but Fatu only acknowledges Roman, and Roman wants Baltimore to acknowledge Jay and Jimmy and himself, but didn't say to acknowledge Jacob, so I don't understand how the whole spiel works, Daddy. But, so Roman said, oh yeah. Jacob Fatu said, "Will I acknowledge Jay? Hell nah." Well, that was nice. And Roman said, "You know what? You need discipline. I'm going to give you a necklace." And then Jacob Fatu got welcomed into the faction that he is already in. He got a necklace for misbehaving. I don't understand. So anyway, Eric Andre is an actor-comedian. He got beat up, and this was tremendous. It took 9 days to get there. Let's stop for a second. Everything the Bloodline did today, it was all absurdly long and repetitive, but the little bits of action that they did do, whenever they did do physical stuff this entire night, that stuff was great. But good God, we're filling up that time, are we? Eric Andre got beat up, and he's because I guess he patted the necklace or something, and he got dragged over the barricade. It was almost like a shoot hip toss, but a Beal. What's the difference between a Beal and a hip toss? The spelling. Nobody knows. But this is a big-ass one, I guess. Maybe that's the difference. And Jacob Fatu is beating him up in the ring, and Eric's standing there laying down, stunned and everything else. He goes to the top rope. The officials are in the way. Roman says no. Jacob stops. Then Roman says, "No, do it." And Jacob jumps off. And I love when guys do a maneuver off the top onto a guy with guys in suits in the way, and they just resign yourselves to the fact that you're going to hit the guy or not. And the guy moves the last second, of course. Haven't seen that done since, I think, whenever Randy Savage, usually a Macho King Randy Savage, would attack someone, he would drop an elbow off the top, and maybe, what the hell is that guy's name? Not Rene Dupree, not Robert Goulet. I'm so close to what that blonde stringy haired guy's name was. No, screw it. When Robert Goulet was breaking up fights. And that's the late 90s, later 80s, early 90s era when guys wore white tennis shoes with their suits. So that was fun. Anyway. So he ends up splashing Eric Andre, the not-so-giant. He splashes him twice, and everyone's panicking because they're going to get sued, LOL. And then they show a commercial with Eric Andre in a movie on Netflix with John Cena, so that means no one's going to get sued. So that took that. We go to commercial break, and then we come back from commercial break. Io Sky is wrestling Raquel, and this is the semifinals, so they each won a 4-way match, and now they wrestle each other in a singles match, and the winner will go to Saudi Arabia in the finals of the Queen of the Ring, right before break, and they went to break pretty fast, but wonderful thing, Raquel catches Io in a dive and catches her for real, not just the stopping and putting it, like, no, she catches her and posts her on where the steel post used to be. I don't know what they call it now, where the advertisement post is now. Go to break, come back from break as you do. They did some barricade stuff. They had Io jump off, try to land on a table, but then get swatted and take the face bump. Io ended up winning with the moonsault because she is the genius of the sky. She is the smartest person. She should have been a pilot. Okay, so it's going to be Io versus either Charlotte Flair or Liv Morgan. So I would imagine Liv would be the one I don't know. Well, we don't really know that. That's happening on SmackDown. Liv Morgan, speaking of which, she has a conversation with Roxy, and Roxy says she's going to wrestle Charlotte Flair. Roxy says Roxy will wrestle Charlotte. Pronouns, Bob. And Liv says, I got to talk to someone, and our friend Danhausen, yes, is there on a Monday typing away, trying to clone people. Big surprise to have Danhausen. A little more on him later, because he's usually not on Raw, so a bit of a surprise. I think they just had to capitalize on momentum, or maybe he was close to town anyway, or whatever. And this is really funny. It's a little extra character stuff with Danhausen. Liv's trying to flirt with him, not really seduce him, but flirt with him really to getting free stuff. And Danhausen almost sells it, but completely oblivious. Like, she slowly takes off her sweatshirt, seductively as you would to reveal a Danhausen shirt she's wearing. And the first thing he says is, "I hope you paid for that." It's hilarious. And then he wants human monies, of course, in exchange for cursing, I think, Charlotte Flair, which was Liv's idea because it works so well with the New York Knicks. And Danhausen wanted human monies, and he wanted Liv Morgan to have a song about him and all this goofiness. And she's kind of rolling her eyes, getting frustrated, and he whispers something in Danhausen's ear or something like that. And Danhausen goes, "Whoa!" Like, he's so excited, and then he says, "I found my jar of human teeth," and she's grossed, and she eventually leaves. Tremendous. So he can't be bought or seduced. Well, he can be bought. Actually, he's supposed to be bought. That's the idea. He can totally be bought. He has his price for the $1 Million Man. But anyway, we go to commercial break. Let's talk about this now with all these commercial breaks. The DiGiorno pizza commercial, it's like a home frozen pizza thing. Let me check times because I have laundry going, and I don't want this to go too long because this is boring. I'm reviewing a boring show, guys. I'm trying to make it as interesting as I can. The DiGiorno pizza thing, every commercial, they have this group of friends. They look like the right age, where maybe they're high school friends, but they're college age and meeting up on a break or something like that because they're trying to catch up, but they're young people, so I guess that's what it is. College kids who went to high school together, and now they want to just catch up on Thanksgiving weekend or whatever the hell. And the girl's whining because the restaurant's really loud, and the girl's whining, I wish we could talk so we could catch up. Bitch, you went... It's not right, though. You went to a loud bar, a loud restaurant. You could have walked back out. Did you make reservations? Did you put a deposit down, or was it etched in stone? Like, what's your issue? You had all this time to leave. It looks like you're about to order. Like, you've been sitting here a few minutes. Nobody went, "Hey, we can't catch up here. Nobody even did one of these. Should we have it? No one did that. And then they go, "It's DiGiorno, the genie," and then they need a pizza-loving genie to put them magically in a house where there's pizza in the oven. And you're going to tell me Danhausen's stupid? Shame on you. Speaking of Danhausen, he's next to my notes. They have a package on Danhausen with the New York Knicks, and he's in full makeup and the jersey, and he's in New York, and everyone's celebrating, and some of the Knicks players think he should also get a ring or something. I don't know. there's a lot going on, but a big mainstream ESPN, Knicks, Danhausen, Madison Square Garden package. So I'm sure they're loving that. Speaking of packages, we got a good look at Seth Rollins' package for the first time in a long time. He's going to wrestle in a steel cage at Night of Champions against Braun Breaker. And his package, after seeing Danhausen's package, was not nearly as entertaining. Bird Lady is there, and Bird Lady tells Adam Pearce something about something's going her way, and that's good for her. But then Pearce turns around, and LaKnight is there. And LaKnight complains about the Usos, and he says he's going to come out later and complain about the Usos. So that's nice to know. Or the Bloodline, or something. Then Chad Gable is Chad Gable again. He wrestles Rusev. They're having a fun time. Commercial break. Ethan Page is there. He's got no socks, but I don't think that was really a factor in the outcome of the match. I'm just saying, could have had some socks. It's live TV about. And what's his name wins, but Chad Gable defeats Rusev by submission. So it looks like they got some kind of plan or something invested in Chad Gable, or they just don't give a shit about Rusev. I really don't know. But that was a surprise. I thought the winner was a toss-up, honestly. But yeah, I guess Chad just unmaxed. So anyway, Ethan, No Socks Page, and Rusev are beating up Chad Gable, and Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio. They come out and make the save, and they raise Chad Gable's hand, and the announcers say, will the Rey and Dragon Lee finally forgive Chad Gable, except they forgave him last week. This is like the Bloodline thing. Welcome to the faction you are in. What are we doing here? It's like Office Space. What you're actually doing is interviewing for your own job. I don't know. Yeah, I don't understand it. Roman Reigns has an assistant, and he's backstage. Again, there's a lot of this. He says something about the twins, and Big Jim will talk to LaKnight. So good for him. And Oba Femi is stretching a red resistance cord, so that's good. Commercial and break. Braun Breaker has a huge package about his steel cage match with Seth Rollins, so that's what we're doing. And no Seth or Becky. They're always off on the same weekends, which is no big deal really. But there you go. So they got a little time, I guess. But anyway, I think in Night of Champions, it's a few Saturdays away. In Saudi Arabia, there will be a cage match, which will be interesting, I guess. I haven't seen Braun in one of those, and he won't be able to do his sprint around the ring things unless they do a bunch of stuff before and after. But will Paul Heyman make a return? I don't know. LaKnight comes out to big chants. They're chanting LaKnight. And then he lays down in the middle of the ring for some reason, because he lost the match on Friday at the four-way in SmackDown, where Jey Uso pinned him, and Royce Keys and Finn Balor were there, and Solo Sikoa wasn't in the match, but he was there in a suit. And they all welcomed LaKnight home to Baltimore, so I guess he's there. That's where he's from, or he grew up there. Jey Uso comes out to tell LaKnight that he defeated LaKnight. Yeet says he beat LaKnight one-on-one last Friday. Now, if you remember last Monday, LaKnight said he's going to take on all four of you in the four-way match, even though he's wrestling three other guys and not four. Now, Jey Uso says, I beat you one-on-one. Well, no, there were two other guys in a match, so it was 1 versus 1 versus 1 versus 1. So, of the four competitors, we've confirmed that half the guys in the match that already took place cannot count to four. Doing great. LaKnight acknowledges Yeet, that Yeet can kiss LaKnight's ass, and they fight a little bit. Big Jim shows up at some stage in all of this tomfoolery, and anyway, Jay has a chair, and Fatu shows up. Oh yeah, LaKnight fights back. He hits them both with chairs, and so LaKnight's beating up the Usos. Fatu, it's the Tongan Death Grip. The Tongan Death Grip, and he's got the red and black tape on all the fingers except the pinky, so now, in case he wants to drink tea between death grips. Commercial and break. Fatu is backstage, and he argues with Roman, I think? And Roman says something, whispers something, maybe he does it later. I think Fatu argues with the twins. Later, Roman will whisper something in his ear. There's a lot of this. There's an NXT Origins package that's interesting. They show old Alexa Bliss footage, and now Alexa Bliss enters. She is accompanying Charlotte Flair, was usually on SmackDown to wrestle Roxanne with Liv Morgan. So it's Charlotte and Roxanne with Liv and Alexa outside. They did the deal where Charlotte was working with the chops, but then she hurts her hand, where the person outside ducks and you end up chopping. The Gunther does it a lot, where you hit the post. Anytime someone's getting chopped a lot on the outside or punched a lot on the outside, and then the person on the defensive leans against the ring post, they're going to duck, and the other person's going to hurt their hand, and it's like you can kind of, I hate to say I saw it coming. Didn't hurt the match. It was a fine match. Little bit of a nitpick. I can't really accuse Charlotte of not selling the injury once she makes her comeback, but she did start the comeback with a handspring. And one of the, instead of, how did I do this? So that was peculiar. I just want to say that. But anyway, she comes back and she gets a submission win on Roxanne. And so I guess Roxanne had told Liv, hey, Charlotte won't be 100%. But and she was right, I guess. But nevertheless, you had to think that was the outcome. Javon Evans was walking around backstage, and then we go to a break. We come back from a break. Javon Evans he's wrestling Jackie Redmond, apparently. No, he's being interviewed by Jackie Redmond. And he says some bouncy things, and he's got this. So it's like, let me see if you guys are here. Javon, I love you, pal. Throughout most of the nation, it's one thing for Jey Uso to get the white people to go like this, and you can't even tell there's no rhythm. But you are asking too much, my friend, okay? It ain't gonna look... I appreciate you. Most of us are gonna screw it up, so... Sorry. Logan Paul interrupts. Well, I didn't see that coming. He's got his arm in a whole thing, in a gadget, and there's dials and knobs and twists and turns and thingamajigs and gizmos and widgets. You're not supposed to, you don't call them widgets anymore. They stopped saying widgets. They prefer to be called Whittle people. Bob, stop it. It's really... The Vision invites Javon Evans and to join the Vision, and Javon says no, and then they say, we're not asking you, we're telling you, you're part of our group. So Javon says, oh yeah, and he took off his pants, and they went to commercial break. That's actually what happened. I'm not even screwing with you. He took his pants off. He had tights on, which is still a little weird. I don't know where Jackie Redmond went during all of this, but nevertheless, her match was over. Austin Theory and Javon Evans wrestle a match, and the people respond really well to Javon. They like him a lot, which is good. There's a DQ finish. I think Braun Breaker shows up and he spears Javon, and they're all beating up a good old Javon there. The Street Profits run out, and Dawkins is back to... anytime Dawkins comes back, you haven't seen him in a while, he always has a good 2 weeks of taking his shirt off before he puts it back on when he wrestles. So, but he looked good here. So the Profits and Javon clear out the Vision there. So I think we're setting up for the Braun. Just really the same tag match we had before, but replacing Logan with Braun. So the Vision, Braun and Theory, I'm sure we'll have some more matches with the Profits after the cage thing, or whenever. Or maybe even to get the... If they need to get the tag belts off the Vision, you could always have Seth run in and maybe build up a little more steam for their cage match. I don't know. I don't think there's any reason to change the tag belts right now. But that's me. What happened next? Roman Reigns is backstage. Roman Reigns. He's talking to Fatu backstage. How many times today have we seen Roman Reigns backstage talking to people between his segment where he went outside and in the ring and talked to people? He whispered something in Fatu's ear. I think he whispered sweet nothings in his ear. He grabbed him close and went, sweet nothings. And Fatu went, that's hilarious. And that must have been what they said. Our main event is Oba Femi versus Dominic Mysterio. Not much to say about this. It was everything it should have been and highly entertaining. 2 minutes of Dom stalling and 3 to 4 minutes of the match. Oba pretty much wrestled Dominic and Judgment Day McDonough at the same time. But they had to be very careful for Judgment Day McDonough not to do anything to Oba in front of the referee, so as not to get disqualified, but I don't think they care anymore anyway. They've given up on all that. So he gave him both some big bumps, and he eventually gave the biggest bump of all to Dominic and pinned him 1, 2, 3, and Oba advances. I should go backwards a little. Clever stuff for Dominic to start the little bit of heat he had. JD made a distraction. Dominic put the hammer in his boot and did 2 619s, one to the stomach and I think one to the head, and then did the splash just to give people the thought that, are they really? Oba kicked out at 1, and this is when you kick out at 1. Dominance after a chicken shit heel does his best, so Dominic's not going to lose any heat over it. If anything, he'll get more, because he can talk his way out of that about how screwed he was, a lot of life he needs to. But anyway, Oba has his hand raised and he says into the microphone something about Brock Lesnar not being a man, and or something like that, and he's going to become the king of the ring. So the dogs outside are barking. Those are not my dogs. Those are not my dogs. Thank you for listening to all that. That was Monday Night Raw. Overall, good. Best wrestling and the most wrestling I feel like we've seen on Raw in a long time. Those European shows are so bogged down with the singing and everything else. Somebody's yelling outside. I think it's just more dogs barking. And so we got some wrestling here. They gave us what they could. It was a little lacking in the star power. No Seth, no Becky, of course. And Punk hasn't been around. And Paul Heyman's clearly off TV for a little bit after the Braun Breaker spear. So we did get hurt on it. There was a part of me that was thinking, oh, come on, it's all bloodline, there's no vision. And then it's like, well, there's not much vision to show. And Logan Paul did make a little surprise appearance, so I guess that was everything they can do. Stand-up comedy. What happened this weekend? I was in Milwaukee, featured for my man Zoltan at Shank Hall in Milwaukee. I saw a 300-seat venue, very cool. 3 shows there. I had a good time. First time seeing Milwaukee. I saw the bronze Fonz. I stood next to the bronze Arthur Fonzarelli statue for a second, took a photograph, and I think that was better than meeting Henry Winkler. And I like Henry Winkler. I don't have a problem with Henry Winkler, but there was no real pressure to meet the statue, so I like that. This weekend, tickets are probably low, but same thing. If you hit my link tree or whatever, it'll take you to Eugene, Oregon. Olsen Run Comedy Club. I'm there 2 shows Friday, 2 Saturday, 1 Sunday this weekend, again with Zoltan, so definitely come to that. If you're in San Diego, before this comes out, or after this comes out, thankfully, this Wednesday I'm in Pacific Beach, SD Collective. Check my Instagram at Bob Hansen Jokes for that one, I guess. And I'll do a spot Thursday in La Jolla. Wednesday the 24th, I'm in El Cajon. All these San Diego ones, not the La Jolla one, but the other San Diego one, the Pacific Beach and the El Cajon one, I'm lining the head, so I'll do a bigger chunk of time on the show and go last. So you want to see me do that. And early July, 2nd and 3rd, Escondido, Grand Comedy Club, 1 Thursday, 2 Friday. Again with Zoltan and our buddy Rui Montilla, so come to those. These will be in the link trees, okay? Do that. I'm going to shut this off and then go get my laundry and fold the laundry and scratch my testicles. Bye, everybody. Sometimes you go over the top rope and you bang your head on the ring apron. Don't do that. That's when you feel like a big dope. They're the worst bumps you can be taking. Oh, it's the hardest part of the ring. Hey, the hardest part of the ring. Sometimes you get trapped in a headlock. You're worried about smearing your lip gloss. Shoot her off and take a shoulder block. Do the drop down, give her the hip toss. Oh, it's the hardest part of the ring. Hey, the hardest part of the ring. Now double claps. Clap, 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 clap. The hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Ba-da-ba-da.